Yo, 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 what is going on? It is your man, Johnny Main. I'm here tonight with my brother, Nick Wilcox. What's going on, man?
Yo, 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 what's happening, great people and all other great land, the one and only, your favorite fantasy football homeboys in the chat, ready to rock and roll. Johnny, it's good to be back.
Yeah, man. You had the big trip out to Canton for the expo over the weekend, man. How was that?
Oh man, dog. I got some I got some cool, interesting insight to give everybody. But the expo was fantastic. Like just another great year put on by Bob Lung and his team and his family and staff. But honestly, man, like just a great to just see some people that you normally get to see just once a year most times unless they're on screen. So um, it's just a great time to be there. I'm surprised I didn't lose my voice this time around.
I was gonna say you actually got a voice this time. I know the
I
last
actually
time
have a
neither
voice
one of
this
us have a
time.
voice.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, it's good to be back. Like I said, but it's also the expo was a great experience for all the people that just go over to Twitter/X and go see what is on my page and what I got tagged in. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Love
So,
it.
but other than that, the expo was fantastic. I was missing you dearly though.
Yeah, no, I definitely was missing the expo for sure, man. Seeing everybody they were posting FOMO, the fear of missing out, and I was like, yeah, like I'm definitely missing out 1,000%. But next year, man, be back ready to rock for sure. As far as that goes, you also, man, you had the fans classic. No more qualifier for you. So this is actually 2 years in a row that like we've actually been represented in the actual fans classic, and not the qualifier. So yeah, if you want to, man, you can tell us a little bit about that, man. Maybe even drop your team for us and share what you got going on, or what you did, kind of some of your thoughts and insights to this draft here.
Totally. So I'll get to that. But yeah, the Fans Classic, for people who don't know, is Fans Classic is basically a know tournament that 14 teams. You got to start three flexes, three receivers, two running backs, QB, and a tight end. Um, no super flex, no tight end premium. Um, but overall, it's the winner of Fans Classic regular because there's a qualifier where if you're top 14 overall when seasons end for the qualifier, you go to Fans Classic, which that was me last year. And then now I'm in the Fans Classic, where the Fans Classic winner gets to be in what they call the Kings Classic, and you get a chance to be a part of the experts in the industry. You're going to see if you can take down one of them as well. So, without further ado, let me share my screen for the overall draft recap, and then we'll go over like my team in general. So, um, so that being said, here's what we got. Johnny, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So,
You might
I
have to
picked
zoom in a
13.
little bit. You might have to zoom in a little bit.
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
A
Yeah.
little bit too much, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right, cool, perfect. So round one, we got obviously round one should be relatively pretty simple. There was really no surprises here. So for me, being on the back end at 13, at first I thought it was like a curse to be on the back end. But you know what? Like I'll go through my picks, but then I'll tell you like around like what my team looks like. So my thought process was, Chase Brown at 13. I got sniped from my guy Achan. Because I probably would have selected him if he
Probably
dropped
a
the first.
blessing.
Probably was, honestly. But at the same time, I went with my boy Chase Brown because obviously me and Johnny love Chase Brown, and there's a reason for it. There's a lot of things that check mark to why we love Chase Brown because Chase Brown is one of those running backs that's going to be able to not only be effective as a runner, but also as a pass catcher. And, with Cincinnati's offense being so high powered, as long as Burrow and this team is healthy, like Chase Brown has every opportunity to, have 2,000 yards scrimmage total yards. He has that opportunity. He's in that bag, in my opinion. So again, I'm at 13. Based on rankings, might be a little too soon, but honestly, I think he belongs to be there because literally we're talking about him being the RB, what, He was the probably like the seventh running back off the board, I believe. So I thought that was a fine selection over Barkley. Um, it's funny that Barkley or Nico, either one of those guys came back to me. I would have got one of them, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. So round two, you know, it was like okay, I could have went Drake London just to balance out the roster, but I decided to go to Marion Hampton. You know, went back to the well. Went with Hampton last year, one of my drafts last year that ultimately won me a championship. So I went with the good luck charm Hampton. But obviously, we know why. You know, Hampton's going to have an offense that the offensive line's healthy. Herbert, as long as he's upright, he's good to go. This offense for overall the Chargers could be one of the top 8 offenses in the league. So with Marion Hampton, you slot him right in. He could be another one of those guys that can really go off. I know he disappointed. I know he got hurt just when he was starting to get going last year, but I do like Hampton here. Pretty much drafting him at cost, but you know what? I think with a guy like Hampton and a guy like Chase Brown, like I went double RB because I know running backs are just not going to come back to you, especially if you're drafting at a 14 team on the back end. It's just very unlikely that a decent running back comes back to you. So my overall note for this is to start as if you want to start double RB, you can, but if you want to start hero RB, I think that's the best way to go too. So round 3, I had to wait a while. So round 3, I think I think the player I kind of was aiming for was Emeka Ibuka, but that didn't happen. In the round 3, I thought it was a little interesting that Judkins went ninth in the third round. That was like a surprise for me. I know Judkins is, was pretty decent. I just thought he was that's a little weird that he went ninth. But I went with Travis Etienne. And to my surprise, he was on the board. And I didn't expect that because I really thought that because running backs are so scarce, Etienne for me is probably the last guy in my tier of my running backs before I reconsider a different position, or when things start getting a little bit hairier. So ETN was just the reason why I selected him in my third RB is because although you got to start, 3 flex receivers and 3 receivers, I felt good enough in my strategy to grab more receivers later on. And I knew once I grabbed ETN, I was pretty much done at running back anyway. So with ETN, I like the offense in the Saints. We all know this could be an offense that can just be another one of those offenses that we talked about going into last year with Kellen Moore, just being another fast-paced offense that's going to have opportunities to not only give us fantasy points, but to get us, some real-life points as well. And Tyler Shuck seems to be a decent quarterback that could take the next level as well. In round 4, really surprised that my guy Lad McConkey was still there, so I definitely nabbed him up. I really think I'll go going Hampton and McConkey, whatever, same offense, whatever, I don't think it's too big of a correlation to grab him and Hampton together. Again, just buying into the Charger offense and buying into a bounce back for Lad. We were grabbing Lad like end of the second round last year. So to get this type of discount on him makes just a ton of sense. The rest of round 4, wasn't too surprising again. I would say, going, if Lamar was there, if I didn't get sniped for Lamar, I would have potentially grabbed him. But I'm really okay grabbing Lad. Waddle was someone I was considering as well, along with T. Higgins. But I think Lad is I think he's in an area to really bounce back, in my opinion. Round 5, I had to wait again a while. So, a little surprising that I thought a few players that were going to be there at the end of the round 5 was going to be there, and that didn't happen. So I went with Maserati Marvin. So I went with Marvin Harrison Jr. was because, look, I understand when it comes to the Marvin Harrison and everything, and him dropping balls today at camp. That's fun, but I would say Marvin Harrison still has that pedigree. I'm not buying into the Arizona offense. I know it's projected to not be a high points per game offense coming into the season, but I'm definitely a believer in Marvin Harrison Jr. bouncing back. We also what Brissett did last year, so I'm buying into Brissett. I'm buying into this combination. The reason why Michael Wilson was so effective in last year's offense was because it really featured the overall Z receiver. And that was Michael Wilson just getting, peppered with a bunch of targets, and the X receiver is kind of just more of the takeaway, and it's usually opposite. The X receiver should be getting more of that volume, and the Z receiver should be the one that's taking away the defenses. But this time around, I believe the offense should cater more to Marvin Harrison Jr. this time around. So overall, that's why I went with him at the bottom of the fifth. I was hoping, Johnny's going to laugh, I was hoping that Watson would be there, and he should have been, in my opinion. But I don't know what's up with this girl snapping on, Sarah's super team was sniping me for certain players. But I had a tougher decision to make here at round 6, and it was literally it was Brian Thomas Jr. or DK Metcalf, right? So, my case for DK Metcalf was, literally because, he gets Pittman in his offense. And with Pittsburgh, as long as, getting another receiver in Pittman Jr., who should be enough to, really get Metcalf a little bit more open, get so much the attention off of him. But I went with Brian Thomas Jr., BCJ, just simply because I think there's an opportunity for him to truly bounce back. I know the schedule is not going to dictate to him well, but he's the receiver that can really have the alpha role, big body, receiver role, because we're talking about Parker Washington, we're talking about, Jacoby Myers, who all those guys in a vacuum somewhat go in the same overall area of drafts. So with BTJ, I just decided to go with him. And I'm buying into overall him and Marvin Harrison Jr. I do think these are the two guys that if it goes well during the season, this team I have is going to go really well. If they underperform, then it may not be so well. So we'll just see. I like bouncing back. I like both of them in terms of bounce back candidates because they're pretty much eerily similar spaces. But BTJ for me, he's someone that with a Jacksonville offense. He's someone that overall is going to be, I feel, a guy that can just bounce back in general. So moving on to round 7. Round 7, it's one of those situations where you start because you got to wait so long where I'm at, sometimes some of your players just get sniped around. So it happened before my pick and it happened after my pick too. So before my pick, my overall type of receiver I was going to try to grab was either Pearsall, because I like Pearsall, or Jaden Reed. Both of them literally got sniped before I was on the clock.
So far it looks like it might have been another good thing with Pearsall and his bulky knee. So maybe somebody did you another favor. Looks like Meatball did you a favor, man. Early on. Way too early. But listen, man, I'm staying away from Devon Achane like that, man, and Ricky Pearsall. I do like the Josh Downs pick though, for sure. I do like that.
Yeah, so the Josh Downs pick just made too much sense for me. Just talking about Pittman earlier, it's now he's in Pittsburgh. Josh Downs profiles as a different type of receiver for this offense, but overall, I do here, honestly, we're talking about with Pittman gone and Pierce, starting on the PUP list. This opens things up for Josh Downs to get even more volume potentially before the season starts. But so we'll have to see. But I do like where I got Josh Downs because we're talking about the middle rounds, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, basically your middle rounds, and you got to take advantage of those picks. So Josh Downs, I was really happy to take him. The other guy I wanted to target was Chris Godwin, but he got sniped. So. And I thought
about Jordan. What about if you was going receiver right there, what about Jordan Addison or well, you already have too many Chargers already, so you can't go Quentin Johnson. But what? Yeah. But what about Jordan Addison? Why didn't you go with him?
I didn't go Jordan Addison. It wasn't that I wasn't thinking about him. It was just more about I felt if I didn't get a QB here, I would have had someone that I wasn't in love with. So it was Herbert or Williams for me. And when it comes down to it, I just decided to go Caleb. I think Chicago's offense is still an offense I truly want to buy into. And even though we have DJ Moore out of the equation, which is whatever, I do like, from a perspective of the Bears offense and Caleb Williams, I feel like Justin Herbert really, it's not that he won't scramble more this year, but it's more I don't think he'll have to do it as much. But I think Caleb Williams will still have to scramble a bit much. I do like the schedule for him upcoming this season. And I do think that year two in Ben Johnson's offense, Jared Goff took a huge step in year two versus year one in his offense when he was in Detroit. So I'm expecting that same thing here for Caleb Williams. I'm expecting a overall better year for Caleb Williams, year two in this system. Now that you have the pieces in place in Chicago that you really want to roll with, um, I think that Caleb Williams, I think it's a steal here early in round 8. Realistically, I feel like Caleb Williams should be going very late 6th, early 7th to get him around later than what I have predicted. Just makes a ton of sense. I know QBs or whatever, sometimes you can't, you're not always, you can always grab one when you want to, but I feel like guys that Caleb Williams who can fit that mold in top 3, top 5 every other week, I just had to get him. And then again, when I grabbed him, 2 other quarterbacks I was thinking about went off the board. So, but the reason I didn't grab Addison, it wasn't because of his talent, because I think Addison's definitely a sleeper. It's just more about I just felt more comfortable grabbing a QB at that time. Round 9 is kind of round 9 and 10 was I don't want to say they're not my best picks, but I feel like I went a bit safer with these picks versus kind of swing more for the fences. So round 9, I was really surprised that Rashid Shaheed wasn't there for me. I was pretty surprised. Because he was someone I was probably
you're in a room full of sharp players, and that's the difference between this draft. There's 2 things that's the difference in this draft. Is one is 12 team, which is traditional, which is what most of us play is 12 team, and then from 12 team going to 14, and then on top of that, there not being a weak link in the room because there isn't a weak link in the room, and all it takes is if you have one bad pick within those first 10 rounds with your starting roster, that can really damn you for sure.
That's real.
And no, it is I mean, last year everything was fine. I had one mishap and it was Caleb Johnson. That was the one mishap I had, and one injury in a 14 team league like this will sink you 1,000%, or and everybody's gonna have a spot that that they're not strong at. I do like the fact that you did go double tight here, because if I learned anything last year from being in this was grabbing your tight ends, grabbing your tight ends that number one, you can put into your flex positions. No, it's not a tight end premium, but they're guaranteed starters. And in a 14 team league, you're with 10 starters, you're gonna have a gap or 2 gaps inside of your lineup every single week. But by flooding, I don't want to say flooding the market, but by taking multiple tight ends, not only are you filling some of those flex spots that are very vulnerable, but you're also taking away from your opponents as well, as far as the tight end position, which is something that they have to start every single week. And man, there's some ugly games, some ugly games. When you look at the 14 teams fan classic, man. So no, I like both of those picks. I think Hawkinson is still grossly underrated, man. And I've been taking him in best ball or Scott Fish Bowl or even in my fans classic qualifier. I took him as well. So I think I love that pick right there by you for that. And I know you're a big fan of Juwan Johnson. So you got 2 Saints. Saints. Talk about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, look. It was, again, what led me to Juwan Johnson last year, and I talked about it when Juwan Johnson was going off, was that for, again, when you look for, this can go by any position, but when you're looking for guys that are under the radar, you need to find something that's going to be separating that player from the crowd. What Juwan Johnson did for me was, literally the Saints offense was an offense that people were kind of down upon coming into the season. And they didn't understand how Kellen Moore's offenses really operate, and that they overall are a fast-paced offense. They overall, we zero in on, one receiver or 2, but Juwan Johnson is that athletic guy build. So it makes sense for a rookie QB and a tight end hookup. But Juwan Johnson, the 10th round, I just felt with a 14 team, like I felt it was either him or Gadsden for me, because I still love Gadsden. It's just the only thing that separated me from not getting Gadsden right now was because, Nick David Njoku was in town. So it's something that I'm not gonna, I'm not writing Nick David Njoku off yet. Unless Gadsden comes out and just proves everybody wrong, which I'm sure he can do. Um, I just wanted to go with Juwan Johnson. I felt that overall, like although Gadsden is in, the overall better offense, so to speak, I already had two other Chargers, but Juwan Johnson was someone that I think can get sneaky value for me, and that was something that I just wanted to take advantage of.
Dig that.
So as far as like QBs went, like Jackson Dart went in that 10th round, and then Patrick Mahomes went round 11. Like if I didn't go QB earlier, yeah, it kind of makes sense to wait. But sometimes you just don't know the room, and I'm not. I don't feel any type of way about it, but it's overall just again. Sometimes that's how it goes when you grab your QB. But again, Caleb's someone I really want on my teams, and it just made sense. But again,
Yeah,
Patrick
man.
Mahomes.
I'll tell you, man. Like for sure. Like the one thing, like and I even messaged you this. I was like,
Yeah, you did.
I was like, man. I was like,
Yeah,
bro, like, And listen, man. Everybody knows, man. I am pro Caleb Williams all the time, man. All the time, anytime. I'm pro Caleb Williams, and I was like, oh man. I was like, probably could have waited a little bit on QB because, like, even like. Oh, 1,000%. But it's all good, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all good. Like, either way, man. Like, because like even if you wait later on, with QB, like you still can end up with guys like, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Kyler. There's definitely Cam Ward. Like, those are some quarterbacks that like you can definitely and like no, like they're not as safe as Caleb for
yeah,
sure. But like in a 14 team league, man, it's like it's you almost would, at least for me anyway. And again, like this is hindsight being 2020, living through it,
yep,
and obviously different,
yeah, living
right?
through it.
Like, yeah, different. Living through it is like I would much rather have a skill player in round 8 and round 9, versus like, even if you look here, like just I know like we were kind of moving, but like you got
Yeah,
Mahomes at 11.
yep,
You got Stafford at 12, Baker at
yep,
12. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
Kyler probably went after that in some respects. So one of the quarterbacks is just naturally going to fall.
sure.
Um, you know what I mean? Oh
Yeah,
man,
I
here
get
we
it. My whole
Yeah,
strategy of like I understand what you're saying too. Um, and it's always just one of those things about timing. It's like, sometimes you can't predict always that that's gonna happen too. But I definitely understand where you're coming from too, because it's like you could have got a Kyler later, you could have got a Baker later for sure.
yeah.
But
It is what it
honestly
is,
still
man.
like
Like
how
I don't hate you. Shit. If you're gonna jump for a guy like that, like obviously, like
be okay
hello,
with it.
like it's Caleb.
Yeah,
It's for me anyway. Like it's Caleb. If you're gonna jump for a guy like that, so I think yeah, like it's not the worst thing in the world, like at all. But like overall, like just like for whatever, like I don't hate your roster at all. Like I think it was a pretty good construction, man. I thought like you did a pretty good job as far as like like being able to get like starting bodies, guys that like, you're not risking anything, man. That's what we got. Oh, we got it. Oh, we got some in the chat. Cool. What up? What up? Uh listen,
nice.
you and me both, brother. You and me both, brother. Willing to let it. I am listen right there with you. Uh what take are you gonna get wrong this year? Don't worry, man. Let me know and I'll let you know. All right, man. That's how I do, man. I'm a man of the people. You know what I
Hey
mean?
yo,
I'm a man of the
what
people,
take it get
Frank.
wrong this
Yeah,
year?
yeah,
Sick.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad the fact that he actually like acknowledged that. You know what I mean? So yeah. But no, like I said, like dude, like I didn't hate your team like at all, bro. Like I thought it was a pretty solid draft, for sure, man. So if you want to pull that back, man, we'll go ahead and get diving into things. I know we got a couple people in here. We had just Laquan was going to be on here tonight. We had some things kind of come up, man. So you guys are stuck with us tonight, but obviously, man, we're hoping to be able to get Laquan back on here, man, back on the show here. Before the season starts, as you guys see Nick in his Terminator screen. So yeah, so you guys are stuck with us tonight, for sure.
Yep.
But wouldn't have it any other way. I appreciate you guys for hopping in for sure. And as you guys see here, man, like definitely give us a follow on X for sure. Give us a follow on the YouTubes as well. So just getting things kind of started, man. Obviously, we have some camp notes coming up, man. There's been a lot of stuff popping up, man. Happy second day of training camp to everybody. Malik Neighbors is running around. So the Malik Neighbors discount is over with. Yeah, dude, I could have died, bro. I could have died because like I was doing my qualifier draft, like the slow draft last week,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, like I took JSN first, I took Kyron second, and then I was like, well, I was like, I could just take Malik Neighbors right now, and I was like, I could. the R. Kelly closet, trapped in the closet. Yeah, I was like, oh, I could take Malik Neighbors, and I was like, oh man, I was like, I'm already kind of like not gun shy about JSN, but I'm like, there's a lot of changes that are happening for Seattle. Obviously, Kubiak's gone, so I'm like, so you know what, man? I said I'll let somebody else take that risk, and literally I make the pick, and like 3 hours later, they're like, oh, well, Malik Neighbors is probably going to avoid the pop. And I was like, great. So that was I missed the boat on that one. But the Malik Neighbors discount is over. It's over now.
I mean, I guess depending on where you're drafting, I guess, because that was something that, if you're drafting on Sleeper, yeah, you won't get much of a discount anyway. But if you're drafting on ESPN, he was like going in like the mid 30s.
Yeah, but nobody's really drafting right now. This is more best ball. Right. It's more best ball draft. But even like for like redraft leagues, like getting ready to happen, like people were like, oh, like, well, maybe Malik Neighbors in the third or the fourth, or and it's like, no, dude, like no, it's not Malik Neighbors in the third or the fourth because you're still getting a first round talent, and he's still a first round talent, and everybody and their mama believes in Jackson Dart, kind of except for me. Like, so I guess I'm like the uncle, I guess. But like that's the thing, is like everybody's all in on Jackson Dart and Scatabo for sure. But Malik Neighbors, like we know he's a first round talent, like in fantasy drafts. We know he is for sure. So so he's moving around. Patrick Mahomes is back out on the field now. He's moving a little bit, not like with as much speed, but like guys, like it's so early, man, right? Like we're talking about all of these things. So like so far, like early on, before we get into like talking like ADP, like what's the one? I told you what the one camp note is. I'm locked in on. That was Malik Neighbors. That was the biggest camp. That was the biggest camp news for me, was Malik Neighbors. And there's still obviously a ton of time. We still got to get to the field. What's the one piece of camp news, man, that you're locked in on?
I mean, honestly, like I'm just curious about what Josh Jacobs going to end up being, because I think it's more about like with Josh Jacobs, like we just got to monitor that. But side note, I think I'm paying attention to like the Raiders, right? We're paying attention to if Mendoza's going to start or not. It sounds
he ain't start, man. TB12 already said that's no go, man. He already said that's no go.
All right.
Yeah. Brazzle Dynasty shares. Yeah, brother. Yeah. I think like even as a UT fan, man, I think it's might be time to cut loose and let it go, man, of them UT receivers for sure. But
Stribling shares are going crazy.
Stribling crazy. Yeah, they are, man. They definitely are. For sure. But no, you were saying, man.
I'll pay attention to the Raiders news, but I think Tank Dell is someone that I want to pay attention to. He's been limited in practice the last couple of weeks, but is he someone that should be on our sleepers list, bounce back list, comeback player of the year list?
Well, damn, that escalated quickly. Yes, we can talk about this. Yes, bro. I seen your tweet, brother. I seen your tweet, and I could not agree more with like he looked like the guy that like hits every single three and does not play a lick of defense. Like 1,000%. Yes, 1,000%. We can talk about that. Although, man, like year three, maybe it might be for CJ. You know what I mean? Like, it's very possible. Very possible. And then somebody after my own heart out there. GBO, go Big Orange, go Balls, go Timbo Slice. You after my heart, and I love it, man. I love it. I love it.
Another piece of news I want to pay attention was is Jordan James going to be the overall number 2? Because it looked like he fractured a rib the other day. Oh no!
Yeah, I
Now the
mean,
door's open, like for whoever.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think like that's one of those ones. Like right now, like obviously we don't know a whole lot. I think that's more of a preseason thing, right? Like I think that's more of a like an actual preseason to see how it looks. Everybody over there is still dying over in San Francisco on that field, so to be continued. But I don't want to waste all of our time on training camp news. Let's get to some real shit here, man. For real.
Yep.
All right, so Blake Corum hype train. You riding shotgun or you riding coach, man?
All right, shotgun. I don't. I just feel it's like. I mean,
he cut his hair. He lost his power. You know what I mean. He scored a 4 on his Wonderlick. You know what I mean. Hopefully his confidence ain't shattered for what y'all boys in New England did to him, man. Y'all good for that, man. Y'all are good for breaking people's confidence and all that, man. Y'all good for that there in New England, man.
Shit.
So you gonna ride shotgun with Blake?
I'm just not. I'm not.
Oh, you riding coach? What you riding? Shotgun or coach?
I'm riding coach. I'm not.
All right.
Blake Corum. I just think that price already is a bit too rich. RB35. Like I know you have nothing to lose, but you're really banking on Blake Corum. Like in order for his price tag to really pay off, we're talking about Blake Corum. He'll definitely need to be at RB24 at least. And we're getting him at RB35 right now. You could take the shot, but it's one of those situations that we're still in the middle rounds in the 9th round, and there's definitely other guys you can take around that range, like receiver-wise, whatever, to give you production, right? Like, we need production on our overall offenses. We can't always, like, Blake Corum's going, like I guess if he's going, like, a round or 2 later, that's obviously a sweet spot. But for me, like, I understand where people are coming from. Kyron Williams and the Rams of overall like not using him like down the stretch like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. Like,
you got some.
I would tell you why. Like, these are all the reasons why. Yeah, like I agree with you. These are all the reasons why it's a no for me. Like, I mean, hey, he's pushing closer to a 40% snap share, so that's cool. Yeah, then like. But like the other parts of like all of this, man, is so like why like I'm not riding shotgun, with him. I'm riding coaches. Kyron doubled him up last year in red zone carries, 51 to 26. Same thing inside of the 10, 30 to 16. He's null and void inside of the passing game. And like Kyron is the running back that's getting all the work in the passing game. So all right, so like if that's the case, like
they got touchdowns.
That right, like there's not a space where he's more valuable to the Rams than Kyron is. You know what I mean? So like for me, like that's why it's a hard no for me. So I think like I think to your point, like he's got to be running back 24 like in order to pay off his value, but like he's not like it's not gonna happen if these things are a continuous trend of what's to happen going into this season. Like he's not getting the red zone work. He's not getting the passing work. He's not getting it's empty calories for Blake Corum. So while I think like, the hype videos look good, and I think like Blake Corum, like he's still got game. Like there ain't no question. And like, tell me more about Kyron Williams returning punts, please, to drop down his value as well. Please tell me again, because we already lived through this, right? And all he did was just go out and kill the game. The one thing that like actually, and this was actually like a crazy stat I did see was that the Cowboys and I think it was the Cowboys and the Bengals were the two teams that actually ran the ball more than the Rams as far as in between the tackles. So you think about like both of those teams, like the profile for both of those teams are explosive offenses, two damn good wide receivers on the outside. Obviously, some guys that can catch passes as far as the tight end position goes. So I thought that was just an interesting stat. But for me, man, like it's definitely it's a hard no, man, for me as far as like Blake Corum. So I'll let somebody else deal with that problem, man.
Agreed.
Dig that. All right. Jadarian Price. We have not talked about him at all. Like we haven't talked about him at all on the
Nope.
show. Like
Nope.
it just hasn't happened. So I was like, all right, like this is a great time to talk about him because there's reports coming out of training camp that he apparently can catch the football. I would hope so, playing running back, that he can catch the ball and expect for him to be utilized a little bit more. What are your thoughts, man, with him and where he was going? Yeah, I see Makai Lemon was returning punts, man, this year. I mean, this
Saw that.
today. So yeah, yeah, interesting for sure. So he's currently
Is
going, man. He's currently going at running back 30, right around the 605. What's your take on him, man?
yeah, like Jadarian Price for me is someone that I'm struggling with because first of all, are we expecting Seattle's offense to still be really like where they were, what they were doing last year?
I'm glad you asked that.
Now with Walker out of town, right? That's
Yeah.
something. And then Charbonnet, right? You know what I'm saying? He's not clearly healthy yet. But he had a clean ACL tear. So it's one of those situations for me where it's like there's just potentially around that range. Like I have him as my RB28 currently. So it's basically Warren, Hubbard, Price, Pollard, and then Rico that finished out the rest of my top 30 running backs. So he's someone that he's young enough to draft, but I'm not sure it's like a place that I overall just want to take him. I would probably wait for someone else to take him, and probably for me just take Sharps later, because I'll probably go at least 3 or 4 rounds later, um, and then see what happens. And then Sharps would be like my RB4 because Seattle still loves Charbonnet. I don't care what you say. So when he comes back, Price will have an opportunity, probably for like the first 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll pretty much be his opportunity to at least take hold of the job. George Haloni is someone that Seattle is also like too, but I don't know. I do think they like Price a lot, so we'll see how that happens. But I think regardless, I want to grab Sharps later, just because I know he'll have a role in general, and I won't have to pay as high of a price for Price.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do this, man. We were talking before we got on. Man, I just got absolutely burned last year
I really
by every single rookie running back you can imagine. And part of that is on me for like drafting them like all on the same team. That's
Mhm.
partly on me. But even still, right? Like you go back and like you think about like who was the guy for rookie running backs last year?
Come on, it was Hampton before he got hurt.
No. It's not before he got hurt. It's well, who was the guy, right? Like Ashton Genty probably would have been the closest
Yeah,
thing, but like the
yeah.
draft capital that like you spent
Draft
on
capital wise,
him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The draft capital you spend, and then you talked about Hampton, who he was hurt. Scatterbo got hurt. Travion had a couple of really hot weeks. RJ had a couple of weeks that were kind
Yep.
of they were kind of hot. So like it's so yeah. So I think this year I think I'm going to sit this one out, champ. I think is what this is going to be. I think I'm going to sit this one out. And a few reasons why, like, I'm going to sit it out, man, is because one, Price never had more than 121 carries at Notre Dame. He never had more than 15 carries in a game. Like, those are all things
Because he
that,
was splitting the backfield with guess who?
but like that, like again, like I don't want to call it a red flag, but like it's another thing to like question. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're going to the league, and now like all of a sudden you've never had more than 15 carries in a college football game, and we're gonna put you in the NFL, and now we're gonna give you 20 carries, right? Like, or not
Does it
20 carries,
remind
20
you?
touches.
Does it remind you of an old school throwback like Reggie Bush, Lindell White situation when they were at USC together?
Reggie Bush was a reach. Reggie Bush was a reach in drafts, in fantasy drafts. Like at that time, he was a reach for drafts. CEH, I can see that.
Oh
Maybe
my god!
it, yeah, like maybe
Oh,
the first year or two, like just based off of sheer volume,
yep.
maybe. Maybe that's the thing, right? And then too, like he was explosive for sure, like in games. There's no question about that. But like, was that because he was a product of his environment? Like 6 yards per carry in college, 10 yards per catch, which that's the most interesting thing. You talked about like the Seahawks. They were third in rushing attempts, third in points scored last year. So obviously, like, it's a very friendly environment. But like to put all of that pressure on a rookie is also like a really, really big ask as well for a guy that has never had the, I don't want to say the ability, he hasn't had the chance yet um, to, to have that workhorse role yet. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. You talked about like, hey, like, is Seattle going to be the same offensively? Brian Flory, I think so, man. He worked in San Francisco, passing game coordinator, tight end coach, run game coordinator. So he's around Kyle Shanahan a lot. Being around a guy like Kyle Shanahan over the last 7 years, I feel very confident about him going into this role here with the Seattle Seahawks. So I believe that if you take a look at what Seattle, I mean, not Seattle, but what San Francisco has done over the last 7 years offensively, quietly and discreetly, they've been one of the better offenses in the NFL. Like they took a guy that was a 7th round pick, and like Brock Purdy is a household name now. Like we obviously know about George Kittle, but we also found out about Jake Tonges, right? Like we also found out last year, like they also beat the Philadelphia Eagles in a division playoff game or wild card playoff game on the road in Philadelphia. So like I like while some people are are fearful about like the changes, like obviously like they lost like a very critical piece to the Seattle Seahawks. I think also too like they might also got like a very critical piece back to be able to keep this offense balanced. So like I'm not as concerned about like the play calling aspect of things as most people would be because I think you spend that much time with a guy like Kyle Shanahan, he's gonna make you better, he's gonna make you sharper. And let's not forget, man, Seattle's defense still pretty damn good there, man, in the Northwest. So I think I'm gonna let somebody like because if I'm looking at this right, like right now, like
Yeah.
in the range that he's going, like
Middle
I
of
would
six.
take, yeah, like I would take Tootin over him. I would even take Ramondre Stevenson over him because I think Ramondre
That will
Stevenson
be
is going.
interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think he's going grossly underrated, right? Because like again, he's still a rookie, and there's still like a lot of things like he's got to know. And like, let's not forget, man, Sam Darnold being the quarterback. Like I think we're kind of passing the stage of him being like the guy that like people don't believe in, right? But like pass pro is a very, very, very important thing when you have a guy like Sam Darnold back there at the quarterback position. They did bring in a couple of pros here in Seattle. So who knows, man? Like again, like last year, man, I think like it was supposed to be a really talented rookie running back class. Didn't end up happening like that. So I think I'm gonna let somebody else take a chance on on the rookie running backs, man. All right, you talked a little bit earlier, man. You were just like, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is going at 307, running back 14. Talk to me.
Well, Jacobs to me is my RB12. Um, and so I'm ahead of the market right now. Unless like we haven't really heard any like concrete news of what may or may not happen with him yet. So until like that's the case, like 307, I think there's a steal for Josh Jacobs. I know his rushing yards total went down, yards per carry went down last year. But he was still at RB10 last year. So we're getting even a slight discount based on because of like, what's happened to him off the field. Um, but we got to find out if that really comes into fruition. So we need more news. Clearly, if nothing happens, that's a steal at RB14, 307. Just because Green Bay's offense is still going to be predicated around him and overall play actions to Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Tucker Kraft. So we'll have to see what happens because let's face it, like we're talking about, who else behind them too that's going to be really vulture, like getting into his whole like 3-down role that Josh Jacobs has. So for a guy like Josh Jacobs, he's like one of the last people on my tier that I take. Is a steal at 307.
Yeah, I before everything happened, I was randomly at home one night, sitting on my couch eating cookie dough bites, which is like one of my favorite pastimes. And I was like, why is nobody talking about Josh Jacobs? And then of course, like everything goes sideways 2 days later. Um, but like for me, I agree with you, man. I think like he's one of the safest picks out there, as long as there's no suspension that is coming after, and like we have no idea how Goodell is going to play that or like what it's going to look like. But realistically, since he's been with Green Bay, his worst finish has been running back 10. So you couldn't get anything any safer as far as the running back position goes with Josh Jacobs. 9 times last season. He finishes running back 12 or higher. So in 12 team leagues, he was a RB1. And then the most important thing for any fantasy manager is his 51 carries,
inside the red zone.
which was fourth which was fourth in the NFL as far as like being inside the red zone with his 12 TDs, 13 missed tackles inside the red zone, which again was the most at that position. So he's getting the work in the most critical moments. He's also valuable enough in the passing game for them not to take him off the field. Like he's not breaking the slate catching passes, but that's like an underrated aspect of his game that like I don't think a lot of people like really took into consideration like as he moved over to Green Bay. But now, like when we look at this, right, like he's a pass catcher, he's the guy that's getting the work inside the red zone. And let's not forget, Jordan Love last year was like dinged up it felt like every single week, like he was dinged up every single week. So I think like if nothing goes sideways from the legal side of things, I think Josh Jacobs is definitely low key one of the better values, right? Because like if you're telling me like inside of a draft, right, like at 307 or anytime in the third round, like if you could start off like with a plethora of wide receivers, right? Like if you could start off, and I'll just be dramatic, if you could start off like uh AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors, or AJ Brown, Emeka Abuka, and Josh Jacobs, man, that's a pretty damn good start right there to a draft for sure. So
Yeah.
I definitely I'm with you with Josh Jacobs, man, for sure. All right, I just got to talk about this, man. Like, and we kind of like probably should have rolled it into the Jadarian Price piece here
It's all
just to make it, but like, what you doing with JSN at 106, man? What are you doing with him?
right. Well, let's just see. Well, I think it's fine. I don't think it's anything that he's my wide receiver 3, so it makes sense. Like I think JSN has earned that for us. So I think with JSN, like he's right now he's my wide receiver 3 overall, and yeah 5 or 6 you usually go with him. Um, Sometimes it's about preference, like and how you want to start your draft around there too, because it's gonna be in the middle. So you grab your running back, you grab um, the receiver like JSN, that overall you want, and you go build your roster from there. But I do think when it comes to like JSN, like I have no problem grabbing him as my wide receiver off the board at 6. It just depends on what you want to build with. Some people want to take Taylor. Some people want to take CD Lamb at 3, which is fine. But JSN for me, I don't. No, I think he's going right where he needs to be. Yeah, I think honestly, he's a slam dunk. I mean, we saw what he did this past season. They didn't bring anybody new in, really, besides letting Walker go. So that could even be even more of a case to get JSN. So I think honestly, Coop's saying that he either want a top 3 pick or a pick 10 through 12. I don't want to be in the middle. Yeah, I don't
No,
blame
I
him.
agree. I
I
agree.
don't blame
I
him.
agree, man.
I
I
don't blame him.
agree.
Yeah,
One through
yeah.
three or ten
Front
through
end or
12 for
back
me
end.
because it
Yeah.
sucks because like the one player like I love JSN, but like the one there's obviously like I would consider CD Lamb. You obviously have to consider like Justin Jefferson, but like James Cook would be like the one guy that I would seriously consider over JSN would be him. I would seriously consider it, and I have considered it in a couple of instances. I've done that, and then I think like the talk of Ashton Genty over the last couple of weeks, like here on this channel, has like really kind of I think probably for both of us, if I'm being completely honest, probably opened our eyes a little bit more as far as like the Ashton Genty pick. I don't know if I'm willing to go all the way there, but like I think I'm definitely a lot more open to it than I was last year for sure. But James Cook for me is absolutely like in that same space as JSN.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were talking about it with James Cook. Like, I still think there's room for him to grow,
And me too.
from a
Me too.
receiving standpoint too, which is ultimately what we want from my running backs too, to catch the ball more out the backfield as well. So I do think there's more there with James Cook. But yeah, JSN, perfect where he's going at the middle. But I'm with Coop. It's like I either want a top 3 pick or I want the end, because you're going to be able to, somewhat get a guy that you may want on either end. And especially if you're, top 3, it's like, okay, like, you overall, what is it? If you're grabbing, Gibbs, Bijan, or Chase, like, you're naturally going to grab at least a few guys that are in the top 30 first 3 picks. So that's ultimately what you get as well. So.
Dig that. All right, man, we got about 10 minutes left, man. One of the things like I did want to talk about tonight actually was I wanted to talk about SummerSlam, and there's nothing football related, but I wanted to talk about SummerSlam. I want to talk about SummerSlam, and then I want to let everybody know my goat showed up. My goat showed up last night. He showed up and burnt that bitch down. She showed up and burnt it down last night, dog. It was so hyped there, man, last night. He showed up and burnt it down. So shout out Wheezy, man. You know what I mean? Shout out Wheezy. But yeah, like, so SummerSlam, man. What's some of your takes on SummerSlam? So I'll ask you a couple things, like, super quick. Just the what I had here. So who you got? CM Punk or Cody?
Man, my heart says CM Punk. My brain says Cody Rhodes, so we're going Cody. We'll go Cody here because it's something that when you talk about both of these guys, we're talking about this was something that we had potentially we're going to see upcoming anyway, preview-wise. So it's not shocking that we're seeing this now. Can we just talk about Sami Zayn and how he got screwed?
I mean, we could, but like that was the whole intent of it. Is like when it happened, I was like, what do you guys think? Like this ain't real, man. This ain't real.
Like, dude,
this ain't
how
real.
Do you let Sami Zayn win the war?
This ain't
the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
9 days. Gone.
Yeah, that's right. To make a point. Here today, gone tomorrow.
Like,
yeah, I think it's gonna be CM Punk, man. The reason why I think it's gonna be CM Punk is I think like they got to eventually get to this Cody heel turn, and I think like could be like a slow. It's a slow burn to get there. So I think CM Punk wins, and maybe between now and Mania, like we start to see like things kind of shift, like as far like with Cody in that space. So that's my take on that one. Could really care less because all they do is just bounce back and forth on who's got the belt between the two of those guys. So all right, it's 3 parts to this. Part 2. Brock or Oba?
Come on, it's Oba. It's Oba. It's
okay.
Oba.
All right.
Oba. There's no way.
Okay.
There's no way Oba loses now. Come on. There's no way. There can't be.
Well, I mean,
right?
Listen.
Right?
Listen. I'm just.
All right, it's the WWE.
Right. right. I was about to say it's the WWE, man. It's the WWE.
Oba just has to go over again. There's no way. Like, I know Brock, this, whatever, but. It's no. After you let him win at WrestleMania, like no, doesn't make any sense. Huh? Oba's got to win.
I'll ride with you on that. I'll ride with Oba. And last but certainly not least, my 2 favorites. My 2 favorites.
We go.
My 2 favorites.
Okay.
The tribal chief, and Seth freaking Rollins, yo. Like this is one for the ages, man. Who you got on this one?
I know who you have.
I hope he does.
I have the opposite. I'm going Roman. Roman has to win here. He's gonna. He's
probably
gonna. All the times that he didn't, he's gonna do it now.
Yeah, he's probably gonna win. He's probably
and like listen, boy Seth, I know.
Listen, I rock with both of these guys, man. I rock with both of them, man. Like the Shield was like the Shield outside of the NWO, man. Like NWO and Oh man, I love it. No, like, we got to talk a little WWE, man. Like just a little segment here, man. Like we had to do a little pivot in the night, so we had to. This was on the agenda to talk about, man. Was a little WWE real quick. But outside of like the NWO and I say the Nation of Domination, the Shield was like is on my Mount Rushmore as far as favorite factions go. Yes, Oba absolutely could be a tight end, bro. He absolutely could be. He could be, man. And hey, actually, man, Trick Williams, actually, as you're Googling, getting your Google on, Coop, Trick Williams actually played wide receiver, I believe, at South Carolina, actually. So, there's definitely a lot of talent there in the WWE, man. But for sure, brother, man, man, appreciate you stopping by, man, tonight for sure, man, and keeping the chat popping, for sure, man. Definitely appreciate that. And then we were in our chat today talking about Scott Fishbowl, some things like I know you know about Coop. And people were talking about how much they loved everybody else's team, and they didn't say my team, and I got really offended. And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait for my team to kick some ass, man! I can't wait for my team to kick some ass from that Boston Scott Fishbowl." Okay? Oh man, you already know. I'm just over here, keeping receipts over here. Word to Nick Wilcox, writing it down on my invisible notebook, man, for sure. Yeah. Yes, listen. I will be in your DMs right after this, man. Right after this, I'll be in your DMs for sure,
Please,
man.
Bro.
For sure. I will be in your DMs right after this, man. But no, with that being said, man, we don't have anything else. Next Sunday, we do have Colin scheduled to be with us from FTN. He's scheduled to be with us on Sunday. Big Philadelphia Eagles fan, so obviously we're gonna be talking a little bit Philadelphia Eagles football. We'll be talking a little bit about that. Love a lot of the work that those guys are doing over there at FTN, man, and a lot of their takes for sure. So we'll be talking about that. And as you guys are seeing right here on the chat, hopefully, being able to line this up, we'll have the man himself, the legendary Coop, on the show here as well before we get ready to kick the season off. Listen, if you're playing fantasy football against me, against Nick, you probably should be watching because we're telling you every damn thing we're doing, and we're giving you the best in the business out here to be able to pop in this chat, ask all the questions, and get everything right for you and your fantasy football drafts. So with that being said, listen, it's me. It's your man, Johnny Main. It's my brother, Nick Wilcox. It's the Fantasy Football Show. And if you're seeing this here on the bottom, make sure you follow us on X. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. We out. Peace.